I have big things going on this year. I plan on getting into the UFC this year, so I got to rail
Yes,
out
man.
some big wins back to back so I can get that contract soon.
What do you think in this game is more important, physical strength or your mental strength?
If you're a mental midget, we can only tell you so much how great you are. If you don't believe
Hmm.
it, you ain't going to go show it. So, but the physical side's
Hmm.
really important. Like if you don't have good lung capacity to be able to compete for, however many minutes you need to compete, that's going to be an issue.
So, with your kids in mind and everything that you have going on in your life, what do you think is the hardest part of being a fighter?
I'm all in my head. That's my thing. I stay in my head. But I
Yeah.
write in a journal. I've been writing probably like 6-7 years now, and I
Wow.
can go back. I can go back and look at times where I was like down, and I overcame the adversity. I still got tears on the page from the time I was
Yeah.
writing, but I can
Yeah.
see how I grew. It helps. It helps. It
Yeah.
helps. When you write everything on the page, it gets out your head because you already put it somewhere.
And I mean, you get it all out of your head, right? And you're looking back at it, and not all of them are pretty things, right? A lot
Yeah.
of them are ugly things. Uh,
Mhm.
I guess what kind of techniques do you use to not judge yourself for the way maybe you used to be, or your thought processes, when looking back at those journals or looking back on some memories, or maybe someone dealt with a situation or had like a traumatic situation. How do you not judge your past self?
Whew, that's hard.
Without further ado, I would like to welcome back a very special guest, LFA Strawweight now, um, Mrs. Chelsea Cotter. She is the owner of Smileback Academy and Ego Fight Series as well. And so we have a lot to talk about.
Oh, come on now.
Hello.
It's me.
Miss Chelsea, how are we doing?
I am doing good. How are you guys?
Oh, we blessed.
Oh yeah, we're doing good. Come on now. It's a beautiful time in combat sports. You see all these things going around in the atmosphere with Abu Dhabi fixing boxing and the karate combat coming up.
No, I live under a rock, honestly.
Hey,
I
I'm right
just
with you.
like,
I'm
yeah.
right with you.
I really, yeah, you mentioning all that, I don't know what you're talking about. As much as I want to say,
Got,
yeah, I
got it.
know, I don't.
Got it. No, you're focused. You're focused because you have a fight now. You come March 29th, right? You're making your comeback to strawweight. Tell us a little bit about the preparation because it's been 7 months since your last fight, right? How's it been since that time, that last time that you stepped into the octagon?
So I was nursing a little injury before that fight. So the injury that I had is good. We're injury free, so that's always nice. And my weight has been just like steady, just coming down. My nutrition's on point. So I'm super excited
Mhm.
to make the cut back to 115. It's the my past two fights I've fought in bigger weight classes. So having that,
Right.
like, I didn't realize how much having to like suffer and cut weight really got me in the mental space to go fight. So I'm excited to be in the right mental space. My past two fights, it's just been kind of like fun. I've just had fun doing it because
Facts.
I love fighting, but there
Facts.
wasn't, I was just happy to be there. I wasn't cutting any weight. I wasn't, not that I wasn't putting in the work, because I definitely was training hard. I just wasn't in the right mindset, in those two fights. So
Mm.
I'm so excited to be back to 115 where I belong and wrecking chicks.
Hey, reckon them. Now I got a question for you. Now me and him both know you're a phenomenal mom.
Yeah.
How do you balance being a great mom and being a fighter during a fight camp?
My husband takes on a lot of responsibilities during fight
Mhm.
camp. So, it does make it tough during fight camp, and my
Mhm.
my oldest, my daughter, she'll be 13 in May. So she gets it. She's been, with me since she's, been I started back to fighting when she was like 3. So she's
Mm.
kind of understands it, gets it. Like mommy gets moody when we have like pizza or yummy treats. So just stay away from mom when we're eating those. Um my little one, he's 4.5. He doesn't quite get it yet. So
Yeah.
but we right now we have a vacation planned in June. So it kind of helps me just be in that mindset of like, hey, I know the reward's coming. I'm going to get time with my kids and to be able to have fun with them. But right
Mhm.
now, mommy has a job to do.
Amen. And she
Does,
gonna get it done.
Yes.
yes, man. Yes, sir.
She gonna get it done.
Does
In a
it
big way.
complicate things? Does it complicate things when in the atmosphere of the fight game things happen? Like, for an example, you were supposed to be fighting on March 16th, right?
Hmm.
For
Correct.
a different promotion, and it ended up not happening, and you got this LFA fight. Tell us a little bit about that. What ended up happening with that fight?
So I was actually going to do 2 fights back to back. LFA was going to let me do the fight for the Renegade. It's Renegade Rumble. That's who I fought for my
Mm,
very last fight back in
right.
August. So they had an opponent that was supposed to fight me, and then she got an injury um, and pulled
Yeah.
out of the fight early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the injuries happen a lot when people have to come to my home state to fight me.
Yeah.
But it just is what it is. I'm used to just having to travel to beat people up instead of them coming to me to beat them up. So
That sounds.
unfortunately,
Oh.
yeah, unfortunately I didn't get to do the back to back like I wanted to, but I think I'm gonna be able to get this fight done and over with, and then fight again in April with a real quick turnaround, and then again middle of June is the game plan. So yeah,
Perfect.
And
gonna
you
keep
said
busy.
you wanted that consistency. You wanted to fight twice in March.
Yeah, no, I definitely did. One, just getting to fight here in Ohio in my home state is super cool. I love, no matter who it is, when, like if I get the opportunity to fight here in Ohio, I'm gonna do it. Just because I don't get a lot of opportunities to do that. So
Mhm.
when they told me I could do it, I was totally down for it. So I know for me, I have big things going on this year. I plan on getting into the UFC this year, so I got to rail
Mm.
Yes,
out
ma'am.
some big wins back to back so I can get that contract soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. So you weren't completely inactive, right? During this whole 7 month span, right? You were getting ready for that fight in March, but you were also doing a lot of grappling competitions, right? I saw you went and competed at the local Naga. You ended up doing very well over there, right? Winning a couple of medals and belts, huh? And then
Yep,
you had this charity grappling event, right?
correct. Yes.
And I remember you had posted it on your Instagram, and you said, I guess this is what a 3 stripe white belt can do to a purple belt. So, so we actually have the clip. And explain, how did this come about?
The guy that helps me get all my fights, he puts these on just to kind of like support people that are in need and stuff. So I told him that if they wanted me to, be on one of their shows or one of their, charity events, that I would do it. And yeah, so this is what happened during that charity event. I love, with me only being a 3 stripe white belt, I love going against higher belt colors. I've always wanted to compete at a, always test myself, so, and I find humor in it. I probably shouldn't, but I find a lot of humor in the fact that people really downplay my
Yeah, you find
grappling.
humor. I'm scared.
Yeah,
Mm.
Mm,
it's I've
Yeah, I'm
tried
nervous.
to go and like mesh with jujitsu academies, but it really just none of them
Mm.
I feel like kind of respect me and my grappling abilities. They want me to start from the very beginning, and it's I've been doing this for almost 15 years. Like I think I know a little bit, and I'm also a high
Mm,
level
facts.
wrestler, so I have my brown belt in judo now, so I know
I
what I'm
saw
doing
that.
when it comes to that. So yeah.
So you think your judo definitely like helps you already very not be very knowledgeable about a lot of the situations in jujitsu that maybe even solely jujitsu practitioners aren't aware of? Do you
Yeah,
feel like it gives you an
definitely.
edge in that respect?
Yeah, 100%. Because judo, I mean, it comes back to balance. Everything's kind of balanced with judo. So, whether you're on the ground and judo, you're focusing on more holding them down, not so much submissions. You learn a few submissions in judo, but nothing too crazy.
Right.
But the judo club that I'm with, like, they're also black belts in jujitsu and take that very serious, but they do more of kind of like you could consider like catch wrestling type jujitsu. So
Um,
it's just extremely aggressive jujitsu and judo that I've learned over the years, and it plays in my favor. So yeah.
yeah, and I feel like it's definitely gonna come into favor in your next fight at LFA.
Yes.
So the girl you're going against, what was her name again? Rosales.
Yeah, Alandria
Yeah.
Rosales.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the girl you're going against, all of believe all of her fights have taken place on the ground, right? All of her wins have come on the ground. All of her losses have come on the ground. How do you, without giving us too much, obviously, how do you expect to deal with this type of fight that you're going to be presented with?
Well, I'm definitely not afraid to go to the ground. um If it goes to the ground, I got my own trick, so we'll see who wins that battle. I think personally, I just think I'm gonna be too much for her. I have fight experience, and her record looks like she has fight experience, but if you look at the people that she's fought, they don't. They have maybe one or two fights, So,
Mm,
you take a look at my record and who I've fought. I've always fought people with at least the same amount of fights as me or more fights than me. And I have a
right.
lot of fights that have went the distance, and I just have that experience that I think no matter if we're on the ground, in the clinch,
Mm,
in the striking battle, on the striking battle she doesn't have a chance. Like she she better hope to God she can get me down. And if she gets me down, I got tricks there too. So it's going to be a very dominant performance for me. I feel like she's tough. She is a tough, durable chick, but I just think with my experience that I have, it's going to be a very good showing for me.
And in that case, you sound super confident. We've always, since we've been talking to you from the beginning, you're a super confident person, and that's built over time. Can you
Yeah.
give us some people in your life that taught you how to overcome adversity and made you this confident?
Yeah, 100%. So I think it starts honestly with my grandfather. I grew
mm,
up, he was kind of I had my biological dad and my stepdad, they both worked like constantly there. So
mm,
I didn't spend a whole lot of time with them. I spent a lot of time with my grandfather. And I grew up on a
mm,
horse farm, and he just made me work all the time. Like I just worked, and
Man.
he always just told me like anything that a guy can do, you can do it too. Now being older, I understand that's not always true. But from a very from a very young age, like that's what my mind thought, like, oh, I can do that too. I can do it too. So when I started playing sports, I just thought I could do everything that the guys do. Like
Mm.
I said, now that I'm older, there's definitely a difference. But I think that kind of is where it all started. And then my strength and conditioning coach, Mick Roberts, he's been a massive person that's helped me really find my strength, my power, everything on that end. Obviously my husband and head coach Johnny, he's been huge on that too. Just having the older that I got, just having men that are supportive of, you know, a woman in the sport and help just me, you know, deal with those battles that you have, you know, when you're getting your butt kicked every single day because you're training with only guys, you know, and they're able to
Right.
talk you off the ledge, you know, of like, hey, you really are great. I would say those three people are the key people that have really helped me. I mean, there's definitely been plenty over the years that have helped, but those are the three that really stick out in my head that have helped me a lot with that.
That's a fact.
Man, that's awesome.
That's a
Cause
fact.
yeah, because you can see it in your voice, just the confidence that you're
Mhm.
exuding, and obviously it comes from preparation as well, because you're confident in the things you're about to partake in, right? But yeah, having people in your life definitely. I know I can name a few of my brothers. They've always helped me to be confident and to prepare correctly so that I can develop my own sense of confidence as well. And you know, we talk about that all the time
Yes.
on this podcast. So but with that confidence, right, comes, I guess, the, like I said, the preparation that comes with it, and the, like you mentioned, your strength and conditioning coach, right?
Yeah.
One, how long have you been training with him? And two, has he had you doing anything differently in these upcoming recent fights and recent competitions? Because I know you're trying to get better and better every time you step out there and compete. What has he been having you do differently? And how long have you known each other?
Yeah, so I started lifting with him. It's been, this year marks 10 years that I've been lifting with him. So he's
Wow.
very he's old school, very just work hard. He doesn't want, like, our training sessions are 25-30 minutes at most. And if you can make it 30 minutes without like vomiting all over the place, yeah, good job, because he just smokes you the whole time. Everything's to failure. So, and
Ooh.
then like once you get to failure, he lifts the weight for you and makes you continue to lift the weight.
Mhm.
So I've been doing that for, like I said, almost 10 years now. With me getting older, we don't push as hard as what we used to. So that is one thing that has changed. He still kicks my butt, but he's just more aware of what my body can handle, you know, just because as you get older, like my training's changed a little bit where I'm training with a lot of girls now.
Mhm.
So I can not take so many injuries. Because
Right.
like I said, back in the day, I was fine and my body repaired pretty quickly. But now at 33, it's definitely something that we have to manage and just be smart with and making sure that we're training the correct way.
Right, absolutely. And now I'm gonna bring up another video. Okay, and tell me, I want you to tell me if this is something new that you've added to the routine.
Yes.
This is
That
new?
is, no, no. That's something I've done that for years too. I just decided to share it that day. But usually I do that without the
So,
shin guards on. But yeah, that's
oh, oh
something,
no. Oh.
yeah.
Because
It just
was
looks
that
cooler.
metal? Was that pole metal?
Yeah, that's a steel pole. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Ooh.
And I've, yeah, that's the one thing that with my fighting style, I definitely like to add in a lot of kicks. And if your shins aren't conditioned to be able to throw those kicks, you're gonna hurt yourself. So
For
right.
sure.
I
For sure.
fighting Marisol, the girl that I just fought back in
Mhm.
August, my shin, when I walked out of there, I had like, it looked like a softball underneath my shin. I didn't even
Mm.
realize it was there. You know, my shins are just hard and I don't realize when I kick like that, how much damage they actually take. So it was kind of
Mm.
funny because I walked out and one of the doctors that were there was like, pointing at my shin like, what's going on? And so they put the what is it, the inswell and stuff on it, got a little bit of the swelling out. But yeah, it's just a gnarly little knot that I have now that I think hurts people more than it hurts me.
So is that usually how you condition your shins, or do you like to do other things as well?
Nah, that's how I do it. I kick that steel pole, and then obviously my training partners, they get kicked a lot.
I got another thing for you. We're gonna get to the fun part now. You hear me? We
Okay.
getting to the greasing ground. So I got a question. So me personally, I go back and look at my past to understand where I'm going in the future. What are some of the aspirations you had before you was a fighter?
Hmm. I've been fighting since I've been 18. It's kind of just what I've done.
Wow.
Um, my I really wanted to join the Marine Corps. That was
Mm.
like what even got me into fighting, was because
Mhm.
I wanted to join. I kept on trying, and at the time, the standards for the Marine Corps, you had to be I think I was supposed to be like 98 pounds for my height and
Mhm.
stuff. So, which just is not, it wasn't possible for me. So I wasn't able to get into the Marine Corps, and that's where, I had ran cross country and track. I was just an athletic person that I was always looking for, what's next to stay competitive. So um that was where I just turned to fighting. And then, when I decided I wanted to be a mom, I took time off to be a mom. So I'd say those were, I wanted to serve my country and I wanted to be a mom. Like those were my aspirations. So I didn't get to serve my country, but I got to be a mom and I get to fight and I love it. So yeah.
That sounds just as good to me. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
That sounds like a
Uh,
good time to me.
it's
Sounds like
honestly
a good time
better.
to me.
Like, so my first husband, he was in the Marine Corps, and so I
Really?
lived that life. Obviously
Hmm.
on the wife side of things, but I'm very thankful that I did not end up joining the Marine Corps. If I'm being honest,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think it is? Because I hear a lot of people say that, they talk, they say that they want to do it and they want to serve and things like that, but then someone talks to them or something turns them away. What do you think it is that turns a lot of people away?
For me, it was age. It was not being an
Mhm.
idiot. I grew up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was gonna sign up to be a human shield. Like that's what I was signing
Basically.
up for,
Hmm. Yeah.
And so I think just being at a young age, and where I grew up at, it was a very rural country type area. So it was the noble thing to go serve your country
Mm-hmm.
type thing. Now I live more in like city and in a bigger city. It's not huge or anything, but people have a little bit more brain cells here. I feel like. So it's just not pushed down my throat. So
Mm.
it just as I feel like just older, I've gotten older, I have kids now, and I think about them
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh man, I wouldn't want them to go, serve for something that basically the recruiters lie to you, and I watched
Yep.
it
Yeah.
firsthand how many lies
Mhm.
were told to my ex-husband, and then we get into the situation and nothing that they promised actually happened. So yeah.
Everything changes when you get there, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, big time.
Everything. Hmm.
Yes.
Man, that's so disappointing. And so you mentioned having kids and that the fact that it would be hard on them. But you're a fighter, right? So you chose the
Yes.
lesser of two evils.
Yes.
But so with your kids in mind and everything that you have going on in your life, what do you think is the hardest part of being a fighter, like a full-time fighter?
Um, the mental side of it, like
Mm.
when your body gets so broken down and you have to take your rest days, the rest
Mm.
days are usually like the hardest days because you're just conditioned to go, go, go all the time. And then on my rest days, I'm thinking about training and I need to just shut off
Mm.
and I need to relax. So I think just trying to find that balance is the hardest thing about everything that you just mentioned. It all comes down to just being okay with resting and balancing that out. So obviously you can't rest all the time, but you also can't train all the time. But
Mm.
keeping your mental in check when you are resting, and not freaking out because you're not training all the time.
Right, because you hear about like those situations, like I don't know if you heard, like it was like after UFC 294, Alexander Volkanovski,
Hmm.
when he lost to Islam Makhachev, and he talked about the time off and kind of where his mind was at, like because he was dealing with injury and so he couldn't train, and he maybe he was like drinking a little bit too
Mhm.
much and things like
Yes.
that, and he got to some really dark places, and he was almost thankful when the opportunity arrived that he like that's what he needed to get him going. Do you feel a little bit of that, like when you don't have a fight coming up?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, it can be a slippery slope for sure. If you don't have the right people around you, then yeah, you're going to slide and you're going to slide hard. So I think the biggest thing is just having people that are like-minded, that are driven around you to keep you on track is the only way to avoid that, because as fighters, we will like self-destruct, and it's hard
Mhm.
to not go down that path. So if you don't have someone kind of like watching over you, like, nope, you're not gonna do that, there's a good chance you're gonna slide down that slide.
Yeah.
Right. And another part I think that maybe it would help a lot of fighters is enjoying the journey. I feel like a lot of fighters are doing it because they have to a lot of times, right? And maybe they don't always enjoy like the training aspect of it, and they're only training when they have a fight and things like that. But there's so many different martial arts in MMA that like there's you just can't know it all, and you can't like ever have enough learning. So I guess like enjoying the learning process of it also helps, and I guess finding new things to grow in. And speaking of there being so many martial arts, do you have a favorite?
um Man, do I have a favorite? That's hard because I just love fighting. Like
Mhm.
I can't say I have a favorite. I really enjoy the ground, but I hate the ground as well because I can't hit people down there when I'm just doing, when I'm just doing ground. Like I love fighting people. So I don't know. I really enjoy wrestling. I really enjoy judo, but
Mm.
I don't get to punch and kick you, and that
Right.
that makes it hard. So I would say probably the striking, like pure kickboxing is my favorite.
I've been trying to tell him. I've been trying to tell him. We want to stand and bang. I've been trying to tell
Yes.
him. I've been
Yeah.
trying to tell him.
Yeah,
Dang.
and I'm not just trying to throw my hands. Like I want to be able to kick you too.
Ooh. That's a
Yeah.
fact. That's a fact.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe you don't have a favorite, or you said kickboxing was your favorite. Do you have a least favorite martial art?
Um, my least favorite. I think pure jujitsu is my least favorite just because
Mm.
um you like when you go to compete, so many people just want to sit down, and like that drives me
Mm.
crazy because I want to enforce my dominance by taking you
Yeah.
down.
Mhm.
Mm.
And like a lot of times, like when it comes to pure jujitsu, they don't have the takedown. So their takedown is jump guard on you or something. And that doesn't make it fun. Like, I want to make this fun.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Have you ever thought about doing like something like combat jujitsu?
Mm.
um, yeah, I've been asked about it. I'm not doing it. It
Yeah.
doesn't interest me. It's not violent enough. If I got to punch you in the face while we were standing,
Mm.
yeah,
Be
then
even better.
maybe I would be interested in it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've watched it and it just not my thing. Not.
Okay. What about so since we're exploring different avenues here,
Yeah.
quickly, what do you think about bare knuckle boxing?
Um, it's insane. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's crazy. Um, I don't think it's for me, honestly. As much as I love to bang it out, man, I wouldn't sign up for that unless there's one person that I would bare knuckle box. That's my girl that I made my pro debut against, Kanya Cizon.
Oh,
I
right.
Facts.
Oh
Right.
yeah, I would love to bare knuckle
Sign
box
it.
her.
Just throw
Sign,
hands.
sign it. Sign it. I'm back.
Yes.
Sign
Yep.
it.
I've tried to make that happen. She ain't interested. She knows what it is.
He knows the deal. So going back to mindset, right? I have a question regarding strength, right? So what do you think in this game is more important, physical strength or your mental strength?
100% mental. Like you can be I feel like maybe not the weakest person in the world, but you don't have to be that strong. If your mental is where it is, where it should be, like you'll smash most of the people that you compete against. Like it all comes back to your mental. You can be as strong as you want to be if you don't have a good mental space. I see it all the time with all the kids that I coach, fighters in my gym. Like, if you're a mental midget, we can only tell you so much how great you are. If you don't believe
Mhm.
it, you ain't going to go show it. So,
That's a fact.
it's all mental.
You strengthen the mind, the body gonna follow. That's a fact.
Yes. Yeah.
The body's gonna
That's
follow.
true.
100%.
You know, and while that's true, it's
Mhm.
also true in reverse as well. Because, like, say for example, outside of fighting,
Mhm.
right? And we'll ask you actually, do you think that it's more important to have mental preparations or physical preparations as far as like workouts? Like, do you
Mhm.
feel like it's more important to be mentally active, like doing exercises, maybe like meditation and things like that, or that it's more important to be physically active? Which one do you think needs to happen first?
Oh, well, happen first. If you're one, you got to find that balance. But
Mm,
happen first, I would say you need to get your mental right before you start focusing, but on
Yeah.
like the physical side. But the physical side's
Mhm.
really important, because like you got to
mhm.
condition yourself to go out and compete if you're not, like if you don't have good lung capacity to be able to compete for, however many minutes you need to compete, that's going to be an issue. But I would,
Yeah,
I personally think that you need to be mentally there before you can start pushing your physical. But physical is
For
important.
sure.
So you got to
For
figure
sure.
out the
yeah.
balance there.
So, what is one thing you like to do to keep your mental clarity? And we know that I remember last time we talked a little bit about your meditation, right? Because
Mhm.
you have a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
You're not only running a fight promotion, you're a full time fighter,
Yes.
Training.
you're a
Yeah.
gym owner.
Yeah.
So, what are some ways that you like to clear your mind alongside meditation whenever you have the time?
Yeah, I like to get up early. I get up early and I go for a 30-minute jog. That
Mhm.
really helps me clear my headspace. I'm not doing the jog really for anything other than my mental. Like, yeah, sure, it
Mhm.
helps my lungs, it helps my cardio, it helps my weight management, but more so it's about my mental and pushing through. Like, man, I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. Well, guess what? You got to get up and you got to go run. You got to make
For
yourself
sure.
a little uncomfortable.
Facts.
So that's definitely something that I utilize is the running side of things. For just mental, staying strong. I like to read.
Mhm.
I get some books here and there that are just like
Mhm.
help you build your confidence, accept your
Mhm.
greatness, things like that also help the when I have time to be able to do things like that.
I was just telling him I gotta I'm all in my head. That's my thing. I
Mhm.
I stay in my head. But I
Yeah.
write in a journal. I've been writing in a journal since what? I've been writing probably like 6-7 years now. And I
Wow.
can go back and look at times where I was like down and I overcame the adversity. You know, I still got tears on the page from the time I was
Yeah.
writing, but I can
Yeah.
see how I grew. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So if you can try that, it definitely helps too as well. When you can write
That's
everything down and you can see how far you came, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing. I used to do that a few years ago. I was journaling quite a bit. Like when I would go into fight camps, I would journal. And I
Mm-hmm.
have a journal right now, and I keep on telling myself, I got 4 weeks until this fight camp. I need to journal, because I want to
For
be
sure.
able to look back and like you
Mm-hmm.
said, like you're
Mm-hmm.
able to read like what you wrote and be able to see like what you overcame in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
And then the coach side of me and knowing what I have like after I'm done fighting and how many people that I'm going to be able to impact,
That's a
I
fact.
can
That's
look
a fact.
back and be able to relate with them even better of how I felt when I was having to do a weight cut and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because that makes me even more like, hey, I need to do the journaling.
For sure. It helps. It helps. It
Yeah.
helps. When you write everything on the page, it gets out your head because you already put it somewhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're
It
right.
get it all out your head. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you get it all out of your head, right? And you're looking back at it, and not all of them are pretty things, right? A lot
Yeah.
of them are ugly things.
Mhm.
Uh,
Hmm.
I guess what kind of techniques do you use to not judge yourself for the way maybe you used to be, or your thought processes, when looking back at those journals or looking back on some memories, or maybe someone dealt with a situation or had like a traumatic situation. How do you not judge your past self?
Whew, that's hard.
Right.
Facts. That's
Yeah,
true.
we'll
That's
get a
true.
little
Yeah,
That's
deep.
that's
true.
really
That's
tough.
true.
I try to always just find the humor in it. That's what keeps me, trying to find what was funny, or how I can just laugh about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am extremely critical of myself and can
Mm,
really like go down a dark path if I pick at it too
Absolutely.
much. So I just have to laugh
Mm-hmm.
about it and like, that was dumb, like you wanted to sign up to be a human shield. That's kind of stupid now, like so just laughing about
Look, you got us laughing. Look.
it.
oh God, that's freaking awesome. Yeah. As far as as far as like like overcoming adversity and things like that, I remember you talking about your shoulder injury and pushing through that, which also has to do with your mental toughness, right? You tore your labrum, if I'm correct,
Mhm.
right? And still fought with it,
Mm.
right? Would you say that that was the biggest adversity you had to overcome in your career?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think yeah, that was tough cuz just the mental side and like I was talking about earlier, not being able to train the way that I wanted to train. I just had to keep all the emotions in check and not like want to just eat myself into a hole or something,
Mm,
like
mm,
yeah, that definitely was for sure uh the most trying point.
Mhm. And did you get surgery for that?
I did, yeah.
No,
Yep.
everybody. When we play football. Usually, a lot of football players tear their labrums. That is a big common thing, and that surgery is brutal.
Yeah.
How
Yeah, it
long did that
wasn't fun.
recovery take? Yeah, that
It was
that that
9
that
months.
recovery, learning it. Yeah. Ooh, I
Yeah.
know it. I know it. I know it.
Yeah.
9 months.
I know it.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
It
know it.
it was one of the faster recoveries. I mean, standard is like 9 months to 12 months
Yeah. Hmm.
for that at my cuz I think I can't remember how old I was, mid 20s when it happened. So,
Hmm.
like they
Mm,
also put into consideration how old you are, how quick your body,
Yeah.
because I mean,
mm,
I know kids that are like 15 that have had a shoulder surgery
Hmm.
and they recover in like 6 months they're out there
yes.
playing again. And I'm
Yes.
like, that's nuts, So,
Labrums are bad. Labrums are really
yeah.
bad. I had a lot of friends tear their labrums. It's hard because you got to relearn the whole
Yeah.
mechanics of your arm all over
Yep.
Mm,
again. It's
Yeah,
it's
and
tough.
Yeah,
and
we actually heard this past weekend. Brian Ortega was talking about it. He was talking about his recovery, how he had like 4 different surgeries or whatever, and that um you're learning. You do have to like learn your body again. Like you try and do a push up and it just feels different.
Mhm.
And I feel like some of that is like they take in your knee ligaments, put it in your shoulder, and all these
yeah,
different things that
yeah.
they do. So when you were recovering from it, did you feel that as well? Did you feel like it was learning your body all over again?
Um, Not really. I it was kind of crazy how it went, because like we just kept it kind of glued to me and didn't
Mm.
use it, and then just
Mm.
unleashed it in the cage. Like we
Did
were
you have the
really
what's it called? The
uh
duck flap, the where it connects right here, the little
like the
brace.
surgery for
Yeah, the brace.
Like a sling?
It's
they
one
I
that
would
connects to your arm.
I don't think so.
Mhm.
Because I had a brace that like held it and kept it tight, but
Okay.
um after the first month I didn't have to wear it, and then
Mm.
we just like kind of, like I said, kind of just kept it, was very aware of like, hey, I need to fight again, so let's just not use it until it's fight time. So that was
Wow.
kind of, we did like the standard physical therapy, band work and things like that with it, but we didn't really push it until after the fight. And then after the fight, it held up well, and then that's when we got back to cranking back to business. So,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
held up
it was
well. By the way, guys, she won. So,
yes.
Yo, yo,
I
so it
think
held
that's
up
so
yes.
well.
facts.
There's context behind that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're coming into this fight with LFA, right? But this isn't the first time you fought for them, right? You fought for them before. Um, how is the LFA different from fighting in all these other promotions? What was your experience like last time?
They treated me great. I really loved fighting for LFA. I fought back in the day, I fought for King of the Cage, which was one of the bigger promotions.
Right.
And so I was used to like the lights, the interviews, the things like that. That wasn't really
Mhm.
anything new to me, but it was just nice to see that LFA was treating everyone that way. Back in the day, King of the Cage only treated you that way if you were fighting for like the world title or something. It wasn't
Mhm.
um not everyone got treated great. So LFA, I mean, I think they do a really good job treating everyone fairly, and not, like I don't want to say like picking sides, but having a favorite, that they're like pressed on or anything like that. They do a pretty good job of keeping it pretty even.
For sure.
Nice. That's what's up. That's what's up. And LFA, another reason why it's such a big deal is because they are scouted by those bigger promotions like the UFC and One Championship and things like that. And you said you're trying to make your run for the UFC this year, right? And it all starts now. It all starts here. It all starts with this fight, right? Because it's always one fight at a time.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that one fight at a time mindset? Is that kind of how you approach these things, or like, for people coming up who are always so focused on the end goal, how do you stay so present?
Um, I I don't know. I feel like people are they live in like a delusional world when they're like I'll say like, hey, my game plan is to be in the UFC this year. But I'm not dumb to think that like I'm thinking about fighting UFC fighters right now. No, I got to fight right now with
Mhm.
Alandria Brown, watch this on TV and
Oh,
think
there
that
we
it's
go.
just, like everyone can do it. Like I've been doing this for a real long time and I get it. I know it takes something special to get to the UFC. Not everyone is going to make it. Even some of the people that I've thought like have it to make it to the UFC, they never make it because of, XYZ, whatever happens. It's definitely, you got to focus on your task at hand. You cannot overlook you know, whoever you're getting ready to compete against. That needs to be your main focus. Cool, you have goals. I have goals to get to the UFC this year, but I'm not letting those who I have to fight right now, you know.
For sure.
Right,
For
because
sure.
the moment you overlook someone, that's the moment you take a step back.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so you do have those aspirations, and you are making the necessary steps in order to get to that point. What do you think is maybe your biggest trait that sets you apart from all these other fighters who are also trying to do the same thing?
Um, I just work hard. It's my work ethic. I will outwork anyone. Like I'm just willing to work harder. And I think that's what separates me from everyone. You know, they think a lot of people think that they're working hard, and then they come train with me for a day and they're like, "What? Like what?" Yeah, yeah. Like, "Hold on. That's what you do?" Every day I do that. You know, like I won, and that's what separates me
For sure.
from whoever I had to compete against, whoever I'm training with. I'll outwork you. You know, you might beat me here and there, but I'm still gonna outwork you. You know, so that definitely, and it pays off in the cage for sure.
Absolutely.
And do you think it makes it harder or maybe a little bit easier, the fact that you actually own a gym, and you're constantly working with them full time, and you have a fight team that you're trying to run and also help people prepare and things like that? Do you think that takes away from it or that adds to it?
Both. I um It yeah, there it's both, but more so it honestly takes away from me focusing just
Mm,
on me. Sometimes I miss like being able to train like I used to and not have to do responsibilities of the gym and you know what this person's doing, what that person's doing. I do have a lot on my plate and I've gotten so much better with delegating it, passing things off to people, so I'm just getting to focus on my training right now, which is it's scary, honestly. Really scary and dangerous for whoever has to compete against me. If I can just zone in and think about fighting and that's it, like if that's not good for whoever has to compete against me.
Ooh, ooh. Right there. Oh, can I also say something?
Yes.
I think at this point we're like best friends now. You know, this
Yeah.
it's the second one. I was telling him before, if there's ever a time you can either come out to Houston and we can train, or we can come out to Ohio and train, we would definitely love to do that.
Yes. Yes. That
Definitely
would
love
be
that.
amazing for sure.
Definitely, because yeah,
I I a promotion down in Texas. Fury, is it Fury, I think?
yeah. There we go.
that's the one.
Yeah, I'm
There we
trying to
go.
get on that. There's one in April that they've been kind of like hinting around, but I know there's also an LFA show. I think I looked in South that I might look at either Fury or South Dakota. So if I go down to
We going
Texas, I
crazy.
will definitely hit you guys up.
We going crazy.
Heck yeah.
After, yeah, after. My bad. Let me.
I don't know if we'll be kicking any steel poles, but
Yeah.
but we definitely got to get some training. Definitely. Okay, so Chelsea, we don't want to take too much more of your time. You've already been so generous with us, so we only have a couple more questions that we want to ask you. Um, and one of those is, did you have any fighters that you looked up to when you were getting into the sport, or that maybe pushed you to want to become a fighter even more?
So when I first started, Gina Carano,
Mm,
she was like hot on the scene. So I didn't watch her that much, but I heard a lot about her. And then enough, I really didn't watch like UFC or MMA, anything like that. I just didn't like pay attention to it. Um, so the first few years that I was into it, it wasn't something I wasn't like following anyone, make it, trying to like their footsteps or anything. And then I remember the Sarah McMahon and Ronda Rousey fight. And that was where like I just
Mm,
fell, and yes, I fell in love with Sarah McMahon. I was like, she's freaking awesome. And at the time I hated Ronda Rousey, just because I didn't like what she was actually doing for the sport. Now I am like, I would die to meet Ronda. Like I train with
for sure.
her. I think she's incredible. But they made her out to be like this horrible human, and I was like, oh, she sucks. I hate her, but now, now looking back, Rhonda was just, she was incredible.
Yeah.
So in a way, I did like secretly, I've always liked Rhonda. But I kept it to myself because I was like, I'm not admitting that I actually like her. But there was a lot with her judo background and judo. I'm
Mhm.
like, she was definitely one that I watched a lot, and that she was
Judo
finishing
is so beautiful to
everyone's arm
watch.
bars. Yes.
Yeah, she won a medal,
Yes.
I believe.
So
She won a medal.
Yeah, she won
She
bronze.
won a bronze. Yeah.
Hmm.
yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
So her, like I said, Sarah McMahon's always been someone that I've really looked up to. And I gravitate towards the women that are, mothers and things like that
Hmm.
I've watched Michelle Watterson is another
I
one
was just
that,
about to say, yeah.
was definitely on my radar and I paid attention to a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's
Cool.
it's cool to see, different fighters, like, their
For
mindset
sure.
and then what kind of pushes them or leans them one way or another. But at the same time, like she said, it wasn't really one fighter that pushed her towards it because she was fighting almost out the womb. Started fighting at 18. As soon as she could, she was throwing hands.
That's a
So
fact.
that was
We get
definitely
that.
so we know that uh actually, you know what? Let's sidetrack that and let's get back to something a little bit more fun before we leave off here. You have a lot of tattoos, right?
Yes.
And I'm gonna pull up another photo for you. What do you think that your favorite tattoos are?
Tough.
Oh, I love
If
the
you
the
had to
ones on
choose
on
one
the backs of my legs.
on the
Tough.
backs of
those
your
Tough.
legs.
those
Tough.
yes, yeah. And it's me, it says hard work, and that is the definition of myself. So I love those ones. My favorite, man. I do have a favorite, and I am like spacing right now. Here, I'm trying to look at them all real fast. I have, what is my favorite one? You guys put me on the spot.
Look.
um this one, this one here, so it's a, I don't know if you can see it. It's, I don't know, it's a heart, half of a heart, but it's shaped in
Mm.
an, and my husband actually has the other one, and
Oh
so when we
Mm.
hold hands, it connects.
that's tough. Oh,
So
that's tough.
yeah,
That's tough.
Ah,
That's tough.
it's pretty
That's
cool.
damn.
tough. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, that's cute.
That's tough. Hey, good man. Good man. Good man. Good man.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, man, we know that you've actually been pretty open on your social media about how much family means to you. Would you mind giving us a few words about like really what they mean to you? Because I know to me, family means everything. Terrence as well. We're always talking about our family on this podcast, off of it. What does family mean to you?
So for me, I want the family that I create to be, know that they're always loved. That was something when I grew up, I didn't always feel loved. And so for me, with my children and the way that me and my husband um doing things, I really want to make sure that they know, like, no matter what they do in life, like, they are so loved. I'm so fortunate and happy to have them. So that's why I do what I do as a mom. Like, I always
Mm,
am trying to go above and beyond because I never want my kids to feel or, that like I don't want them or anything like that. Like I said, growing up for me, I kind of went through things where I felt very replaced and things like that. I won't get too into detail, but
Yeah.
for me, it's super important. My kids and the family that I've created feels very loved and just wanted. The biggest thing is feeling wanted.
That's awesome.
They hit home. They hit home.
Yeah,
They hit home.
You're an amazing mother.
Yeah.
You're an amazing fighter. We already talked about your goals that you have for this year, right? And that first obviously comes up March 29th. So last question before we head off, and this is maybe a little bit of a tricky one, but what do you think the best base for someone getting into MMA is, like base martial art? Or actually, it doesn't even have to be a martial art. I know some people say childhood trauma. Some people say
Yeah.
different other things that people go through. But what
For
would you say is the
real.
best base for MMA?
Yeah, no, that childhood trauma, that's a real real thing that'll get you pretty far. No, I'd say, man, wrestling is
Mm.
so dominant, and like in MMA in general, it just makes you tough. It makes you mean. If you can get through the grind of a wrestling season, you you could be, you got to make sure that you can get punched, so
Yeah.
there's definitely some wrestlers that they definitely cannot get punched, but I think wrestling and childhood trauma, yes. Yes.
Hey. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. That's a duo. That's a duo. That's a duo right
Chelsea,
there. That's a duo.
thank you so much for your time. You've been more than generous, and we couldn't thank you enough. Do you have any last socials that you wanna leave here? Is there a way that your fans could get in contact with you? We know you also have Ego Fight Series. Is there anything coming up with that?
Yes. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Chelsea Connor MMA. We do have Ego Fight Series or Ego Boxing. So we have the Ego Fight Series, that's MMA. We've had 2 shows already in that. And March 9th, we are putting on our very first boxing show. So
For
anyone
sure.
that's in the Piqua area, they definitely need to come out, support, and watch some people throw those hands.
If you're in the Pittsburgh
Hey.
area, you heard it.
Hey, and March 29th, we right behind you when you put it in that shadow realm. We're gonna be right behind you. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's
We'll be
go.
right behind you.
March 29th, Chelsea Connor makes her second appearance at LFA. She's looking to take care of another opponent. And we couldn't be more happy that you're getting this opportunity. So best of luck in your upcoming fight and in all your endeavors. And we can't wait till we speak with you again. Thank you for having us,
Yes, thank
Chelsea.
you guys as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you sound like you should be on CNN. Bro, Fury, you want to go UFC? All you gotta do fight twice. It get your body, dog.
I don't know about fight twice.
No, I'm talking about of her status though.
Yeah.
She probably fight two
She's
people.
already
She probably be gone.
Yeah.
She be gone. They,
Yeah.
man.
100%.
Hopefully she invests in that. South Dakota. She come to Houston, everybody gonna watch.
He said,
You know, everybody watching. No, yeah, South Dakota, at least South Dakota.
guys, thank you for tuning into the episode. Let us know how you liked the interview. We're still getting better at this, so stay patient.
Sure.
But thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to leave your thoughts down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Hey, and everybody tell my brother happy birthday. Everybody tell Jill happy birthday, and tell your grandma too.
And your auntie and your uncle.
Hey, and your mom and your dad.
What is up, Wade MMA family? New episodes of The Will vs. The Weight drop weekly. Don't forget to check out our latest episodes and other MMA content on Wade MMA. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.